Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. No pain for their disease. Rage is like a weed.
It's a little cooler here on the East Coast as we have reached the midway point in August, and we are itching closer and closer to yet another set of major pay-per-views, including All In, Payback, and All Out. I'm here. Things are about to heat up, even though it's getting a little cooler outside. Things are heating up in this beautiful lair that I got over here, and it can only mean that. Yay! You know what that means. We're live! Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the greatest fucking show on earth, streaming live on 4 different platforms and 7 different accounts. As the people are filing on in, we are getting ready to get down to the nitty and the gritty, getting down and dirty here. Because as of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle, no. Shit. Do you smell that? Man, do you know what that is? That right there. Sends a tingle down my spine. It is the smell of pure fucking excellence. Wait for it. Wait for it. Two-man and this is the official Lightning Flash update for Saturday, August 19th, 2023. Woo! Plenty, and I mean plenty of good material coming your way on this fine Saturday. We have got a lot of news to talk about, including news on All In, including news on CM Punk, a lot of news on CM Punk, news on Rey Mysterio winning the United States title, and a rumor about the bloodline and where the story was potentially heading. It was shut down this week. We got plenty of news to talk about, and we're going to go over three weekly wrestling shows. I did not watch SmackDown yet. I have not reviewed it simply because I was at a restaurant at a party last night for my cousin Mikey's graduation. Shout out to Mikey. I will be seeing you in a couple of weeks for my cousin Andrew's wedding down in North Carolina. Congratulations to him. Plenty plenty of good food last night as well. Had the pasta, the Caesar salad, the steak, the antipasto, the graduation cake. Am I making y'all hungry yet? I hope y'all had lunch. Plenty of good food last night. I had a good time. I did watch Rampage, though. I did watch Dynamite, and I did watch Raw. We're going to talk about that as well. Plenty of hot takes that I've been having on PWP Nation as well. And we may as well get into the self-brand promotion and the advertisements now before we get into the news, rumors, and reports. Please make sure you follow me on Twitter at HistoryMakerDJS and on Instagram, X at HistoryMakerDJS and on Instagram at HistoryMakerDJS. Both of those links are in the description, as well as the link to my Facebook. You can also send me an email at HistoryMaker, or not HistoryMaker, what am I saying? StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. That is my email for any collaboration requests and business inquiries, that's for sure. You can also like the official DJ Storms business page, which we are actually streaming live on right now, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is, all of those links are in the description, as well as the link to my friend Brittany K's X and Instagram accounts. Brittany K is a big supporter of the brand and a good friend of mine. She does beautifully crafted designs on her iPad of various professional wrestlers, and she does X Abbies and X banners. So if you guys are interested in that, or if you're interested in any pro wrestling designs, please go and send her a direct message. Her X account is Brittany K5150, and her Instagram is Brittany K Designs. Please go and check her out. Show her some love. Trust me, you will not regret it. She is a wonderful human being. Also, on top of that, please make sure that you are subscribed to PWP Nation on Facebook. I am making a ton of posts over there. I interact with a lot of people. Some of them are retards. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to say that when I start streaming on PWP Nation. More information on that will be coming. I will be streaming on the PWP Nation Facebook page as well. So we're going to get an even bigger outreach than we're already getting. I'm telling you, it's a fun time for the DJ Storms brand, especially considering that we got 3 pay-per-views coming up, all in on August 27th. We got Payback on September 2nd, and then we got All Out on September 3rd. And then on September 30th, we got 90s WrestleCon in the Rockaway Mall in Rockaway, New Jersey. Me and Jay, for the first time ever, we are going to be in the same vicinity range, and me and Jay Aletto will both have tables at 90s WrestleCon. He's looking to sell some wrestling cards. I'm looking to sell some t-shirts and wristbands. I'm going to be doing a live stream, hopefully get some wrestlers on the show as well, just like I did for 80s WrestleCon. That was actually one of my favorite shows of the year so far. 80s WrestleCon, where I had Ace Darling on there, and Crowbar, Rick Recon, GKM, even Dirty Dango made a little appearance. So if you guys missed that, go and check that out, because that right there is a preview of what is to come at 90s WrestleCon on September 30th in Rockaway. Please make sure, if you have not already done so, please make sure that you hit the like button no matter where you're watching the stream from, whether it be X, whether it be Instagram, whether it be Facebook, or whether it be Twitch. Share it out on all platforms, social media, as well on Pinterest and Tumblr, and share it through your Google email, and share it on Threads. If you guys are on Threads, I'm not on Threads because fuck Mark Zuckerberg. Plenty of social media platforms that you can share out this stream to, because we want to get a nice wide outreach. I see we got plenty of good people in the chat, including Dylan, Sarah Hapka. By the way, congratulations to Sarah Hapka. She is now an official member of the Hardcore Sports family. She does the Raw watch-alongs with Mr. Earl Cole, baby. And by the way, I will be appearing on Earl Cole's 100th episode of The Wrestling Experience, and that is going to take place at the end of September. I believe it will be September 28th, if I'm not mistaken, just a couple of days before 90s WrestleCon. So go subscribe to Earl Cole if you have not already done so. Congratulations to Sarah Hapka. I see we got Dylan in here. I see we got the Final Hoss. I see we got Hoolagrim as well. Hoolagrim is absolutely fantastic. Hoolagrim is one of my day one A1s. He is someone that I'm looking to get back on the channel very, very soon. But share it out on all platforms of social media. Please make sure that you come on in. And if you're watching on YouTube, whether it be my YouTube or the Hardcore Sports YouTube channel, you hit the subscribe button. I am on the road to 2,200. Hardcore Sports is on the road to 800. Show us some love and hit that subscribe button. And when you do hit that subscribe button, hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace, because that way you're going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, oh, baby, it is the absolute best time to be on YouTube. It is the only time that you're going to get to see this oh so glorious sideburn shin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. You know what time it is. Oh, you know what time it is. We're going to break out this beautifully crafted magical ace comb, and James Punaseca is in here just in time because we about to light it up right here on the LFU with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of because like that 4-course meal that I had last night with the pasta, the antipasta salad, the steak, the potatoes, the green beans, the cake, I am just so good. I am the tastiest snack in the IWC, and everybody wants a piece of the Storms Meister. Anyway, let me go take a sip of my ice water right here, and we are going to get straight into the news, rumors, and reports. Let's talk about AEW All In. Let's actually start off with a positive report. You didn't get invited to dinner, Hooligan, because you're in Portland. I live in Jersey. Come to Jersey. Come to Jersey. We'll go out for a 4-course meal, and we will have the time of our lives. We'll go out to bars. We'll scope out some hot chicks. Come on to Jersey. You ride with me, you always going to have a good time. Anyway, WrestleTix this week reported officially AEW All In has surpassed the legitimate WrestleMania 32 attendance record. The WrestleMania 32 attendance record stood at 80,709 individuals. This is paid attendance. Now, this is not officially how many people attended the event because the event has not happened yet, but this is how many tickets were officially paid for. All In currently right now stands at nearly 81,000 paid tickets sold. Currently right now, it's somewhere around the 80,900 mark. So All In has officially surpassed the WrestleMania 32 attendance record for most paid tickets sold. Now, there's a lot of people that are going to want to throw out something stupid. Or Tony Khan paid for half of those tickets. Or people are going to want to say, well, the event hasn't happened yet. The event hasn't happened yet, so how can you judge the paid attendance before the event has concluded? Hooty, hooty, hoo! Now, these retards that want to come out here and try and move the goalpost and do whatever they possibly can to discredit AEW's success. This should not be a time where we should be going on tangents and asking all of these questions and moving on with saying, oh, you see, WrestleMania 30 or 40, they sold 90,000 tickets in one day across both nights with these travel packs. This is not a time where we should be trying to move the goalposts and discredit AEW. This is a time where wrestling fans as a whole should be celebrating because the sport of professional wrestling is at an all-time high right now. With WrestleMania and All In being wildly successful in terms of ticket sales, this should be a time where wrestling fans should be jumping for joy because the one thing that they are most passionate about is succeeding, both from a business standpoint and from a quality standpoint. At least AEW is succeeding from a quality standpoint. It's quite ridiculous how people are going to continuously try and discredit something just because they're tribalistic freaks. I legitimately have such a disdain for humankind. I really do. And this is part of the reason why. Outside of the people that I know personally and outside of the people that show support to me here, I legitimately have a deep-rooted disdain for everyone I come in contact with. I really do. And reasons like this just fuel it. Reasons like this just fuel my hatred for everybody. How people look to deliberately try and bring something down just because they're not a fan of it. How about you just keep on scrolling if you don't like a post or you don't like a statistic that's being thrown out there? How about you just scroll right past it and move on in your life? Are you really that miserable that you need to go out of your way and try and spew some bullshit about how Tony Khan paid for these tickets or how, oh, it's not official yet because the event hasn't happened yet? If the tickets are paid, then the tickets are paid. At the end of the day, money's already been paid for, and the money is in Tony Khan's pockets as we speak. So it's paid. It's paid. It's official. I don't care what kind of secondary sites that you want to throw out there or whatever records that were set in the past. It's over and done with, and All In right now is probably as successful as it could be. I think that they would have sold out completely if they announced the card in advance, but that's neither here nor there. At the end of the day, this is a huge milestone. Tony Khan has got a lot of material that he needs to handle. He's got a lot of issues in his own right. But through all of this drama, and we're going to talk about the drama, through all of this drama, he has still managed to break record after record. And that right there is impressive and should be respected. This is not a time where anyone should be making excuses or asking all these stupid questions. We should be celebrating because pro wrestling is succeeding, especially in a day and age where cable television is dying. Cable TV is dying and everything's going to be on a streaming site and everyone is cheap as all hell. The fact that AEW has a wide enough outreach where they are able to sell 80,000 tickets in Wembley Stadium, they took this chance and it blew expectations out of the water. That is to be appreciated, that is to be admired, and that is to be respected. They took a chance and it paid off. I'll tell you what was not a payoff. Rey Mysterio winning the United States Championship. That was not a payoff. Now, I don't want to misconstrue anything, and I don't want people to think that I hate Rey Mysterio. I don't hate Rey Mysterio. I respect Rey Mysterio greatly. He's a legend in this business. Well-deserved Hall of Famer. Probably the greatest luchador of all time. There will never be another Rey Mysterio. However, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Rey Mysterio winning the United States title last Friday on SmackDown was the right call. It wasn't. It was stupid, if you ask me. Matter of fact, it was stupid, period. It was objectively stupid because Rey Mysterio lost the United States Championship Invitational Finals to Santos Escobar. Now, he didn't get pinned, he didn't get submitted. They needed to stop the match due to an injury, but at the end of the day, he lost. Based on what happened on television, Escobar won, and Escobar should have gotten the United States title match. If anything, you can make the argument that Escobar should be the United States champion. Last Friday on SmackDown, following SummerSlam, Rey Mysterio defeated Austin Theory in an impromptu match to win his third United States championship. It was originally supposed to be Santos fighting Theory, but Theory injured him before the match, and Rey Mysterio took his place. Ringside News then reached out to get the scoop on whether this was the plan or not, and it was confirmed that this was always the plan for Rey to win the United States title. Matter of fact, it was said that everything went according to plan. My question that I want to ask is, why? The question that I'm posing is, why was this the plan? They're reporting that everything went according to plan. So Rey Mysterio getting injured via Santos Escobar, and that point in time in the match a couple weeks ago where he got the wind knocked out of him, that was supposed to happen. That was a pre-planned spot. Santos's injury was a pre-planned spot. Rey winning the United States title was always going to be the plan from the get-go, and everything went according to plan, according to a tenured creative team member. Why was this the plan? Because if you're asking me, and listen, I'm the smartest man alive, let's be real here. If you're asking me, what we saw was an over-convoluted mess. What we saw was nonsensical bullshit. That's what we saw a couple weeks ago on SmackDown. It was all unnecessary. It was all over the top. It was a bunch of shenanigans that they threw out there on television thinking that it was going to come off good, and it didn't come off good at all. Now, is the plan to have Santos Escobar turn heel on Rey Mysterio? Why would you turn Santos Escobar heel when he's been getting solid babyface reactions over the course of the whole summer? The Latino World Order was probably the best thing to ever happen to Santos Escobar. It's stupid. Rey winning the United States title was always the plan. Is their plan to turn Santos Escobar into a heel? That would be a terrible idea. The Latino World Order has helped elevate Santos Escobar, and soon I hope it helps elevate Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro. Why would you turn him heel and move him away from Rey Mysterio when he's been getting some solid babyface reactions? The crowd want to cheer Escobar. Now, granted, I do believe that he's better as a heel. I do. But do you trust that WWE is going to fully get behind him when he's on his own? They weren't doing that whatsoever. Matter of fact, he was an afterthought on SmackDown. He was a legitimate afterthought until they paired him with the Latino World Order and they had him feud with the Judgment Day on Rey Mysterio's behalf. Why anyone would even contemplate splitting up the Latino World Order is completely beyond me. We'll see what happens. But if you ask me, the entire strategy of giving Rey Mysterio the United States Championship and having Escobar turn on him, it feels like it's completely unnecessary. It's almost like they're trying to set him up for failure, especially with what they're doing with LA Knight now. LA Knight should have been the United States champion from the get-go. LA Knight should have won the United States title invitational, and LA Knight should have fought Austin Theory at SummerSlam, and he should have beaten Austin Theory for the United States Championship. Fuck the Battle Royal. Should not have been a Battle Royal. It should have been Theory, and it should have been LA Knight, with LA Knight going over in Ford Field in front of 50,000 people. That's what we should have gotten. But of course, we didn't get that. Why? Why didn't we get that? Because WWE has a fetish with trolling the fans, especially with what happened last night on SmackDown. I saw little clips of what's going on with The Miz and LA Knight. And after Austin Theory beat LA Knight, it's legitimately like they're mocking you right in front of your face. Rey winning the United States title should not have happened. I love Rey Mysterio. He's a legend. But in no way, shape, or form should Rey Mysterio be winning a championship in 2023 when you got Grayson Waller, Cameron Grimes, Santos Escobar, LA Knight, and numerous amounts of other people winning matches on weekly television, competing on weekly television, getting over, and waiting for the opportunity to at least have somewhat of a career like Rey Mysterio. Sticking with Ringside News here, Ringside News also reached out to a tenured member of the WWE creative team to ask about the future of the Bloodline saga. And I got two major reports on the Bloodline saga right now. The first report has to do with a rumor that was going around in the IWC, a rumor that was being pitched by numerous people in the IWC about a potential fatal four-way match for the undisputed Universal Championship between Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa, and Roman Reigns. Some people have predicted that that could very well happen at the next Saudi Arabian show, or maybe even at Survivor Series. Some people have even said it could hold off until the Royal Rumble, or maybe even WrestleMania. However, the source that Ringside News spoke to reported that they never heard the idea from anyone. And I quote, "No one ever pitched the idea of a fatal four-way between the bloodline. If you're asking me, I feel like I've been saying that a lot over the course of the last 25 minutes. No one pitched the idea of a fatal four-way with the bloodline. To be quite honest with you, that's probably the only intriguing thing left to do with this bloodline storyline. Not even The Rock would be intriguing. At this point, people are over Roman Reigns. More and more people are over Roman. More and more people just want to see Roman lose the championship. He should have lost the championship to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. There's no reason why we should have 15. I see James Punisaka talking about 15 years ago. Yes, James Punisaka taught me grade 5, 15 years ago. There's no reason why Roman Reigns should have gone 4 months without defending the championship. He defends it against Jey Uso, and now he's going to take another 2.5-month vacation until the next Saudi Arabian show comes about. Not even 2.5 months, 3-month vacation. No reason why Roman Reigns needed to reach 1,000 days. No reason why Roman Reigns should be in a position where he's only wrestling 7 times a year and he's going X amount of months without defending the championship. Roman Reigns has competed twice between SummerSlam and WrestleMania. He did not defend the title on either of those terms. Why is it that Roman Reigns is competing in tag team matches in a bloodline storyline with Jimmy and Jay? He's not even defending the championship, and the title has essentially become a prop on Roman Reigns. That is pathetic. Pathetic! If anything, the Fatal 4-Way could probably be the last intriguing part of this bloodline storyline. If we do a Fatal 4-Way, I would actually be somewhat intrigued in it. And I'm sure a lot of people would be somewhat intrigued in it. But it was never the plan. Typical WWE. Typical WWE. They never do the cool thing. Typical WWE. Whatever the fans want, they do the opposite because they love to agitate their fan base. It's honest to God mind-boggling. I almost can't even form the proper words. You have the fans throwing out ideas on social media of a fatal 4-way between all 4 members of the bloodline, and it's actually better than whatever they have going on TV. I don't even know if WWE and Roman Reigns knows if they want to take the storyline in a different direction going into a 4-way, or if they want to do another new challenger, or if Cody Rhodes even has a sliver of a chance of winning at WrestleMania 40. Should he fight Roman at WrestleMania 40? They don't even know what the plan is. Roman doesn't care. I talked about it last week. Roman doesn't give a damn. All he cares about is making sure he maintains his spot. Forget about Roman Reigns. I'm going to start calling him Hogan Reigns because he's a selfish prick. Fatal 4-Way is not in the cards for the bloodline. I don't care. Probably the last intriguing thing that they could do, and guess what? They're not going to do it. Pathetic. What's going to happen in the future with this bloodline storyline? I don't know. And quite frankly, I don't care. I'm numb to it. I feel nothing. I legitimately feel nothing. People want to cry. Long-term booking. Long-term storytelling. 3 years is more than enough. 3 years is overkill. Should have ended at WrestleMania. They had everything lined up perfectly. They didn't pull the trigger. Why? Because Roman Reigns is a selfish douchebag. Roman Reigns has been manipulating the system for God knows how long now. He's taking the reins, no pun intended, on his championship title run, and now he decides when it ends. Paul Heyman going on about bottom of the 3rd inning. We're in the 53rd inning, motherfucker. The sooner that this bloodline angle ends, the better. Because I have absolutely no interest in it whatsoever. None. I don't even give a shit about a Jay versus Jimmy feud at WrestleMania if they go that route. What's going to happen now? Are all 4 members going to be off of television? Are we going to see Jimmy versus Solo now? Is Solo going to align with Jey Uso? Are we going to get Solo and Jay versus Jimmy and Roman? It's fucking stupid. It is beyond stupid. It's beyond comprehension at this rate. They are trying to milk this shit out until legitimately everyone is sick of it. And sooner rather than later, more and more people are going to become sick of it. LA Knight, Sami Zayn, and Cody Rhodes have already surpassed the Bloodline in the merch sale department. The merch sale department has already seen those 3 individuals surpass the Bloodline. What's going to happen when the Bloodline storyline becomes so stale? It's already getting stale, but what happens when the majority of the community is sick of it? What's going to happen when the Bloodline do not generate the most minute-for-minute viewership on the shows that they're on? What happens when, or if, LA Knight? What happens when Cody Rhodes? What happens when Sami Zayn? What happens when whoever? We don't know who could rise to prominence. What happens when another individual overtakes the Bloodline in minute-for-minute viewership on these shows? Because at some point, it's going to have to happen. The Bloodline is not going to be a draw forever. They're not. At some point, they're going to fall flat, and people are going to be sick of them. People are already sick of them. With this next report, I'd like to hope that WWE has somewhat of a plan, but I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt. Better Wrestling Experience posted behind their private X account an exclusive on the Bloodline saga, stating that the Bloodline storyline will be taking a breather. The Bloodline storyline will be taking a break, and WWE sees this as a chance to test other superstars to step up. Better Wrestling Experience seems confident that there are some stars that will indeed step up to the plate. Now, if WWE wants other superstars to step up to the plate, fine. But at the same point in time, it doesn't just revolve around other individuals stepping up. What it revolves around is if the creative team is willing to put effort into something other than the Bloodline storyline. That's the problem. The Bloodline storyline is as good as it is because WWE gives it the proper time. It gives it the proper reverence. It gives it the proper effort. If WWE spread out the reverence, if they spread out the effort, if they spread out the care to everything else on the show, then everything else on the show would feel just as important. People want to go on and on saying, oh, there's no storyline in AEW like the Bloodline storyline. You do realize that the Bloodline storyline is merely as good as it is because WWE is legitimately neglecting everything else. WWE has neglected everything else around the Bloodline storyline and has only put effort into that because they deem everything else unimportant. And then WWE wants us to care about what's going on at these weekly shows and at these pay-per-views. AEW puts effort into everything. AEW spreads out the reverence, spreads out the importance. There's a little bit to Chris Jericho, there's a little bit to the Elite, a little bit to Darby Allin, a little bit to Sting, a little bit to Swerve Strickland, a little bit to the women, a little bit to the tag team division. There's a little bit here and there. That's why AEW's product overall is better in quality than WWE. If you make one storyline so good, then you're going to have to put all your effort into that storyline while pretty much negating everything else. You can't do that. You realize how detrimental that is? I don't think people understand that the Bloodline is actually causing more harm in the long run, because what are they going to do when this Bloodline storyline finally ends? What are they going to do when it ends? Are they going to have anybody else to fall back on? No. No one, and I mean no one, has that same reverence. No one has that same importance as the Bloodline storyline. And when that Bloodline storyline's off of television, no one has a reason to invest. Hell, no one even has a reason to invest in the Bloodline storyline coming out of SummerSlam. everyone gets a piece of the pie in AEW. In WWE, it's Roman Reigns and everyone else gets table scraps. You need to put effort into other things on the show if you want people to care. Wrestlers can step up, that's fine, but it all revolves around WWE creative. Vince McMahon has put all of his eggs into the Bloodline basket. He has put all of his effort into the Bloodline storyline, and everything else around the Bloodline storyline feels blah. It just feels like it's there. It feels unimportant. It feels like, whatever. You can have numerous amounts of superstars step up, but if you are not creatively putting effort into an AJ Styles or a Shinsuke Nakamura or a Rhea Ripley or a Judgment Day, a JD McDonough, a Cameron Grimes, an Austin Theory, a Santos Escobar, a Bobby Lashley, Street Profits, if you're not putting effort into these individuals while the Bloodline storyline's taking a breather, then no one is going to care about these individuals. Take some of that reverence and spread it amongst everyone else that's not involved in the Bloodline storyline. You do that, things will turn out better. Moving on here, I got a report from WrestlingNews.co. They reported that Lacey Evans has officially been released by the WWE. She was recently moved to the alumni section on Wednesday morning. I do not blame WWE whatsoever. And if you're happy that Lacey Evans got released, listen, I don't blame you either. I don't. Lacey Evans, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm always straightforward. I'm always honest. Lacey Evans did have potential at one point. When she was in NXT throughout 2018, she was actually improving fairly well. And she actually had a decent amount of potential in her. But the problem is that they called her up from NXT too quick. They called her up from NXT way too quickly. I remember in the beginning of 2019, they called up Lacey Evans, Nikki Cross, Lars Sullivan, Heavy Machinery, and EC3. And Lacey Evans always stuck out as the odd one. She always stuck out as the odd one. She was not ready. Lars Sullivan was ready. EC3 was ready. Heavy Machinery was ready. Lacey Evans was not ready. Lacey Evans was an odd woman out in that little crop of talent at the beginning of 2019 that was called up from NXT. Lacey Evans did not have enough time to grow and mature in NXT. She was decent in the ring, but she did not have enough time to establish herself. How many matches? Please answer me this. How many matches did Lacey Evans have in NXT that were standout matches? 0. None. There were absolutely no standout matches in NXT for Lacey Evans. Nothing. I can't remember a single match from Lacey Evans' run in NXT. The only thing that I remember was she actually had a pretty decent match with Candice LeRae in the fall of 2018. But even then, that wasn't anything special. That was on NXT television. Lacey Evans did not have enough time to grow and mature in NXT, and then she was called up, and she regressed in the ring. She was called up. She was thrusted immediately into a feud with Becky Lynch, and after 3 pay-per-views of a feud with Becky Lynch and Lacey Evans, no one cared about Lacey Evans after that. Nobody did. Lacey Evans was virtually a dead act. I'm surprised that she didn't get released after that feud with Becky Lynch was over. That feud with Becky Lynch was awful. Terrible. There wasn't a single match in that feud. Not a single match or moment in that feud that felt important. The matches that Becky and Lacey put on, you could have put on Monday Night Raw. They were barely given 8 minutes at Money in the Bank in 2019. Barely given 8 minutes. If anything, people looked at Lacey Evans and they saw Divas era. They looked at Lacey Evans and they saw Divas era. She regressed in the ring. Her character never got the chance to properly get over. Then they tried to make her into a babyface. Then they took her off of television. They got rid of the sassy Southern Belle gimmick. They tried to make her a military woman because she was in the military before. Then the fans rejected her. Then they tried to turn her heel again. And then she just floundered and dwindled into nothing. Lacey Evans has been a lost cause for God knows how long. Lacey Evans has been a lost cause since you called her up, really. Should have never been called up. The moment that she got that call up, she was doomed to fail. She was not ready. She just wasn't. Should have stayed in NXT, could have spent another year or two down in NXT, and who knows, maybe she would have been something of substance. Maybe we'd be singing a different tune now. Now is she going to go to AEW? God, I hope not. I hope not. But at the end of the day, Lacey Evans will always go down as an individual that had a little bit of potential, and she failed. Lacey Evans failed because WWE called her up too quickly. 0 memorable matches in NXT, 0 memorable moments. They called her up, put her in a feud with Becky Lynch. The matches were subpar. They were not pay-per-view worthy. And then after that, no one cared about Lacey Evans ever again. Whatever little percentage of the audience cared about Lacey Evans in that feud with Becky, they did not care about her anymore. If anything, you would have had better luck if you released her right after the feud with Becky Lynch. She just does not have any upside. She's a pretty face, and that's it. She's got big tits and a big ass, and that's it. That's all the value that Lacey Evans possesses. I wish her luck. But at the end of the day, Lacey Evans getting released, it's probably one of the biggest positives that WWE could do right now because she offers nothing to the women's division. Tony Khan. Tony Khan has been getting himself into some hot water as of lately. There's a lot of bullshit going around backstage in AEW. I guess we'll start off with All In. Now, All In actually looks like a very solid card. Doesn't matter what anyone says, the All In card looks very solid. And by the end of the show, we're going to get a great show. And it's going to be a historic night. However, according to SE Scoops, AEW talent are reportedly unhappy with Tony Khan and his plans for AEW All In. One wrestler noted that a lot of people are upset about Wembley and people are scared that we aren't going to live up to this moment. That was the report going around from SE Scoops. Now, like I said, the card actually looks very solid. People are really going overboard and saying, oh, this card sucks. This card looks like a dynamite. How many times have we heard that from people? People say that about legitimately every AEW pay-per-view. Oh, this card sucks. This card looks like a dynamite. And in the end, the show ends up being great. Happened with Revolution, happened with Forbidden Door, happened with Full Gear, happened with All Out in the past. It's happened with every pay-per-view possible. However, I don't blame some of the talent because Tony Khan has been showcasing a lot of flaws recently in terms of the build towards his pay-per-views. I would say around mid-2022, coming out of Double or Nothing 2022, when CM Punk got injured, heading into the first Forbidden Door pay-per-view, I would say around that portion is where we started to see the chinks in the kinks in Tony Khan's armor. The chinks in his armor really started to show around June of 2022. Tony Khan has had a problem over the course of the last year in terms of the build towards his shows. A lot of these shows, a lot of the pay-per-views, All Out, Full Gear, and Revolution, These shows have been put together legitimately 2 weeks before the pay-per-view actually takes place. We did not get a match announced for AEW All In until about 3 weeks before the show, when MJF had Adam Cole sign a contract for the main event for AEW All In. That's a problem. We should have gotten a match for All In, the main event, confirmed at the beginning of July. We should have gotten that match confirmed at the beginning of July, and we would have been off to the races. They didn't do that. They didn't do that whatsoever. I don't know why, but they didn't. Tony Khan has not had that same building power. He used to be the guy when it comes to building towards a pay-per-view. When WWE neglected their build, neglected their weekly shows, and they merely relied on the pay-per-view itself, when WWE took the lazy approach going into every single one of their pay-per-views, and they sold it on the fact that, oh, we're WWE, we always had Tony Khan to rely on to give us a genuine reason to care, to give us a reason to get excited about the pay-per-view coming up. And in the last year, that has not been the case whatsoever. Coming out of Forbidden Door last year, Tony Khan has not had that same impact when building towards a pay-per-view or building towards a go-home show. The go-home show doesn't have the same effect as it usually does, and we don't get matches announced until 2-3 weeks before the show. That's not how a wrestling promoter should be operating. You should be announcing the main event of your next pay-per-view at least a month and a half in advance. If the pay-per-view is in November, you should be announcing the main event in October. You should be building long-term storylines stemming from pay-per-view to pay-per-view, where everything on the weekly show has a connection to all these pay-per-views, one after the other, after the other, after the other. That is how a wrestling promoter should operate. And the problem has been the same thing that I've been saying for the last year. And I have not strayed from this. Tony Khan is doing too much. Tony Khan has a lot to be proud of. Trust me on that. He's got a lot to be proud of. He is an individual that no one ever expected to have as much success as he has had. He took nothing. He took something that was virtually nothing with the help of Cody, Omega, the Bucks, and Hangman. He helped create a wrestling promotion that is going to be around for decades to come, whether you want to admit it or not. AEW is going to be around for decades to come. But Tony Khan has taken on way too many responsibilities. The more talent that comes in, the more responsibilities that he takes on, the more overwhelmed he's going to be. Tony Khan is great at what he does. He made pro wrestling cool again, but he's not God. He's not. At the end of the day, no one, no matter who you are, nobody can get ahead in life without help. No one can get further along on this earth without assistance. Nobody can. I know that. I know that. If I was able to do everything myself, I would. But I know that I can't. It is physically impossible. The mental stress would be beyond comprehension. The emotional stress would be unheard of. You cannot do everything in life on your own. I have been saying that Tony Khan needs to spread out the responsibilities, delegate the duties to other individuals. He needs to assemble a creative team. He needs to assemble a creative team so that way you can have someone else write the show for you, or if you want to, you can hire more people to handle the business aspect of things. If Tony Khan doesn't want to handle the business aspect and the promotional aspect of things, fine. He can still be the CEO. He can still be at the meetings. He could still be the CEO, but he should have someone else in his place if he is too overwhelmed by that. Or if anything, he should hire creative writers. He should hire a team. And then after the team writes the show, the team should report back to him. And then he should be the final say in everything that goes down on the show. he should not be writing the show if he's going to be as overwhelmed as he is. Because if he had creative team members writing the show, and that's all that they had to focus on, we would actually be getting legitimate long-term booking. Now, there is some long-term booking in AEW. There is episodic week-to-week television in AEW. They got plenty of stories in AEW, which is very good. I've been enjoying the stories that they've been telling. And if you're going to deny that there haven't been any stories, if you're going to deny that there hasn't been a story, then at the end of the day, you're the problem. There is plenty of story with AEW. The problem is that it's not as good as it used to be. And it's because of the fact that Tony Khan is overwhelmed. He needs to hire a creative writing team and start developing that team at some point going into the fall. He needs to, because if he doesn't, the more responsibilities he takes on, the more and more overwhelmed he's going to get, and he's going to end up crashing. He's wearing himself out way too fast. He needs to hire a creative team to write the show for him ASAP, because that right there could ultimately mean a long-term negative effect on AEW. They're not going anywhere, but they're not going to be as hot as they once were if Tony Khan does not assemble that creative team. He's been doing it by himself for almost 5 years now. At some point, you need to swallow your pride. I understand being prideful. I understand you want to take pride in your work and take pride in the fact that you created this. But if you physically, mentally, and emotionally are overwhelmed with what you're doing, you need to acknowledge that, take a step back, and ask for help. So I don't blame the talent. Will the show be great? I'm 1,000% sure it could go down as the best show of the year. But Tony Khan is burnt out. So I don't blame the talent for feeling a little apprehensive. Tony Khan needs to assemble a creative team. End of story. I got a report on WWE recently filing a few trademarks. 3 historic ECW pay-per-view names, CyberSlam, Barely Legal, and Massacre on 34th Street Fight, has all been trademarked by WWE. And my guess is the fact that they're probably going to use those for NXT, because recently NXT has been using a lot of classic WCW names to kind of hype up the brand and kind of say that, yeah, it's a third brand, we're giving it these important names, but no one cares about NXT. NXT is the worst show in the industry, whether you want to admit it or not. So we'll see what happens with those 3 pay-per-view names. I'm guessing that they should be used for NXT in the coming months. CM Punk. It feels like I was just talking about someone that's causing an issue backstage. Roman Reigns. I did a thorough, in-depth analysis on Roman Reigns and how Roman Reigns has essentially become a selfish dickwad last week. It was probably one of the best LFUs I've ever done. If you missed last week's LFU, I encourage you to go and check it out, because it was absolutely one of the best discussions that I've had. One of the best analytical tangents that I went on. One of the best ones that I've ever done. 60 minutes. 60 minutes I talked on Roman Reigns, and I talked about why he is to blame for the WWE's dip in quality. Please go check it out if you missed it. Now I'm talking about CM Punk. And apparently more drama. Another backstage uproar caused by CM Punk. CM Punk got himself into some hot water again. After AEW Collision went off the air, Punk cut a promo on a fan with a Hangman Page poster. He actually insulted Hangman Adam Page, and the promo circulated on X, Instagram, and other various social media platforms. Many people thought that this promo on Hangman Page was a work, but according to Fightful, this was not a work whatsoever. Then it came out that Punk actually sent multiple people home from Collision, including the Hollywood hunk Ryan Nemeth, who's Dolph Ziggler's brother, Matt Hardy, and Christopher Daniels. Nemeth made comments about Punk being soft a couple of months ago, and apparently CM Punk thought that that was a kind of an instigation for drama. He looked at Ryan Nemeth as a drama instigator, and he went into a huge tangent on Ryan Nemeth. Daniels actually had ties to the backstage brawl at All Out last year, even though he was the one that technically broke up the fight. It was unclear as to why Matt Hardy was sent home. Hangman Adam Page was actually supposed to record a promo at the show and was actually sent to a different location. This sparked rumors that he got kicked out by Punk as well, but the sources in AEW confirmed that that was untrue. Brian Alvarez then reported that Punk immediately felt guilty after his promo on Hangman Adam Page. He even went as far as to send him an apology text message. Fightful then reported that another backstage argument took place before Collision between Jack Perry and CM Punk. This was apparently over an issue with a planned backstage segment where Perry wanted to try and use real glass. Now, it was unclarified. It was unclear as to what this segment was going to entail, but apparently it was going to result in some sort of brawl, some sort of melee, where Perry was going to have to use glass, and I'm assuming that they had fake glass, they had breakaway glass on site, but Perry wanted to use real glass. Fightful Select then ended with a report stating that the Elite are still refusing to work with CM Punk, and they want to remain as far away from him as possible. Now, we're going to go one step at a time here. We're going to go one step at a time, and I'm going to try and break this down in the best possible manner that I could possibly break this down. First of all, let's talk about Punk's promo on Hangman. Completely unnecessary. I don't know what Punk's motive was, but apparently he felt very guilty afterwards, and he went so far as to send Hangman an apology text message. Good. I am happy that CM Punk is realizing where he went wrong. I am happy that CM Punk is realizing what has been going on and how his emotions getting the best of him, and whatever he tries to do, him being outspoken isn't always the best possible route. However, what's kind of pathetic to me is the fact that Punk still has not learned from All Out. I mean, yes, it was off the air, but with the power of social media, and after what happened at All Out, Punk is still being as outspoken as he is. At some point, you got to learn when to shut your mouth. If you're a part of a major promotion like that, and you are meant to be the locker room leader, you are meant to be the top guy backstage at Collision for the time being, and you want a very relaxed, drama-free, and chill backstage environment, why would you even contemplate saying anything about Hangman Adam Page? Regardless of whether it was off the air, and regardless of whether or not your intentions were to try and spark up some conversation between the Elite and CM Punk. Now, if Hangman Adam Page was an individual that CM Punk sent an apology text message to, maybe Hangman Adam Page could be the middleman and potentially be the guy that kind of smooths things over between Omega the Bucks and CM Punk. I'm not sure if that's absolutely going to happen, but maybe that was Punk's intentions. Maybe his intentions were good, but what he said came off wrong. If you were going to say something like that, maybe you should have kept it to yourself. Maybe you shouldn't have gone out of your way to do something like that, considering that you are now being watched under a microscope after what happened at AEW All Out last year. And we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the Brawl Out. Punk really needs to work on thinking before he speaks. He really does. So this was not a work. Punk screwed up. He sent Hangman an apology text message. He learned from his mistake, I'd like to hope. But I mean, when it comes to certain stuff like this, Phil, a.k.a. Punk, really needs to learn to think before he opens his mouth. He really needs to think about the consequences, because right now, CM Punk is pretty much becoming public enemy number one all over again. It's like we're reliving the events from 1 year ago. Then it came out that Punk sent multiple people home. Ryan Nemeth, Matt Hardy, Christopher Daniels. No one knows why Matt Hardy was sent home. Christopher Daniels apparently had a part in the backstage brawl at All Out, and Ryan Nemeth made a comment on CM Punk a couple months ago, calling him a very soft man on Twitter. And Punk saw that as a means of instigating drama. I appreciate that CM Punk is taking his role as the locker room leader seriously. I appreciate that. But at the end of the day, don't you think it would have been more effective if CM Punk calmly approached Ryan Nemeth to talk about these comments, and he was not overly agitated, overly angry, he wasn't going on a tangent, and he wasn't as defensive? Don't you think that that would have been a lot more mature, if you ask me? Punk wants to talk about, oh, all I do is work with children. Well, how about you lead by example and not go on a crazy-ass tangent on Ryan Nemeth, regardless of whether or not you think his comments were going to instigate drama? Maybe if Punk was a little bit more toned down and he was a little bit more relaxed, he was a little bit more calm, maybe all of these reports wouldn't have circulated. Maybe if it was a more toned down scenario and Punk actually spoke with calmness, with respect, with maturity, with the tone of an adult, if you ask me, instead of going on a tangent like these reports are saying, maybe things would have come off a lot better. I understand he wants to be the locker room leader. I understand that he's taking pride in the fact that Collision is his show. I understand that, and I respect that. But at the same point in time, are you really getting that agitated over something that someone said on social media? Something like that should be handled within 5 minutes, and there should be no one sent home. Ryan Nemeth should have just had a conversation with Punk, Punk have a conversation with Ryan Nemeth, talk things out like men, and then move on with the show without anyone being sent home. Christopher Daniels, he played a part in the all-out brawl. However, he did not strike anyone. He was actually trying to break up the fight. I'm not sure if anything's going down in terms of legal stuff. I'm not sure if anything legal is going down between Christopher Daniels and Punk. As far as I know, it's only with Omega the Bucks and CM Punk. I don't think Christopher Daniels played a part in the brawl. He probably broke it up, but he never physically struck anyone. So if that's the case, why is he being removed? Why is he being removed? And then Matt Hardy, nobody knows why Matt Hardy's being removed. I understand you want to be happy and you want to make it a drama-free environment, but the fact that you're kicking these individuals out when, in reality, you've done a lot worse than they've done, and you're kicking them out because you want a drama-free environment, you're essentially causing more divide. You're essentially causing more drama. On top of that, why does Punk have the ability to send people home? Why does Punk have the ability to send people home? CM Punk is a contracted employee. No contracted employees in the company should have the power to send anybody home. Is Tony Khan not backstage? Is Tony Khan not backstage at Collision? Who's running the show? Is it CM Punk or is it Tony Khan? By the looks of it, it looks like CM Punk is running the show. Why did Tony Khan not step in? And this goes back to what I said. Tony Khan is overwhelmed to a point where he doesn't even know what's going on in his own locker room. And if he does know what's going on in his own locker room, he is, for lack of a better terms, a pussy. Tony Khan needs to grow a set of testicles and be a chief executive officer. Tony Khan needs to shape up. He needs to have a sense of authority on the show. Too many people are taking advantage of Tony Khan and his kindness. You want to be kind. You want to be a nice CEO. You want to be one of the good guys in pro wrestling. Fine. But you better, and I mean you better, put your foot down if any type of situation like this arises. So much so, they even hired Ace Steel back, even though Ace Steel is not backstage. Some people were saying that, oh, Punk said because Ace Steel doesn't get to be backstage, Christopher Daniels doesn't get to be backstage either. That is as juvenile as you could possibly get. That is as juvenile as you could possibly get. CM Punk is acting like a child. The one thing that he says he does not like working with. Oh, I work with children. You're acting like a child. I understand you want to take pride in what you're doing, but don't send people home over stupid shit like that. Talk it out like adults. Where's the professionalism? Same thing with Tony Khan. Tony Khan has absolutely no say in this whatsoever. He's just letting CM Punk do whatever he wants. It's the same exact scenario that happened with Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan back during WCW days. It's the same thing that's going on with Roman Reigns and Vince McMahon right now. Vince is allowing Roman to determine the end of his title reign. Now, granted, what's going on with CM Punk is certainly not as bad as what's going on with Roman. CM Punk's not holding a title hostage for 1,000 days. But regardless, this is not a good look, especially so close to AEW All In. AEW reported that Hangman Adam Page was not sent to a different location because of Punk. They just simply decided to remove a different location. Fine. That's fine. Then we got this backstage argument with Jack Perry and CM Punk. I'm sorry. I was reading this. I cannot bring myself to believe this. This is the one aspect of all of this. This is the one report out of this whole slew of reports I call bullshit on. I call absolute bullshit on this. I think that Fightful was fed wrong information here. There is no way that Jack Perry would try and argue with CM Punk, and he would get into a backstage fight with CM Punk because he wanted to use real glass in a segment. In no way, shape, or form would Jack Perry, who answers to Tony Khan, who has been drama for Jack Perry, has been a saint. Jack Perry has been an absolute saint since AEW started. Jack Perry has not done a goddamn thing. Jack Perry has kept his mouth shut. He has done his job. He is not politic. Jack Perry has been as cool as a cucumber, as cool as the other side of the pillow. Why all of a sudden would he start instigating drama on CM Punk? What is Jack Perry even doing backstage at Collision anyway? That's an even better question. Why was he even back there? What's this segment that he's going to record? Are we going to see that? Are we going to see that on Wednesday? Could we potentially see Hook make a return and ambush Jack Perry? Could Jack Perry get ambushed by Hook and confirm a rematch for AEW All In? Is that where we're headed? Potentially. Maybe that's where he was reportedly wanting to use real glass. But if you're asking me, I don't believe for one second that Jack Perry would even insinuate the idea of using real glass. Jack Perry is a company guy. He does everything that Tony Khan tells him to do. In no way, shape, or form would he try and push back on something that sounds so stupid. I call bullshit on that. And then you got the Elite. The one common denominator in all of this, the Elite. The Elite, apparently they are still refusing to work with CM Punk. Listen, I understand. I really do. I understand the problem. I understand the problem with CM Punk and the Elite. I understand that something like that happened. It is certainly not something that people want to just sweep under the rug. I get it. But is it really that bad? Is it really that bad to a point where you cannot put your feelings aside for the greater good of the company? And I am not taking anyone's side here. Everyone is to blame for what's been going on. Tony Khan is to blame. CM Punk is to blame. Matt Jackson is to blame. Nick Jackson is to blame. And Kenny Omega is to blame. So much so that the Young Bucks are just so paranoid, in a sense, that Some people are even saying that CM Punk's recent Ring of Honor post on his story was a shot at Matt Jackson's wife. Why would CM Punk take a shot at Matt Jackson's wife? For what? People are literally just reaching for straws at this rate. Everyone needs to fucking put down their cell phone, do not get on social media, and these individuals need to be called in a room. Tony Khan needs to get his head in the fucking game. He needs to get his head in the game and demand, put his foot down, demand that these individuals sit down, talk things out, and work. Work. At the end of the day, AEW, though it may be around for a long time, it is going to have a blemish on its legacy. Tony Khan's going to have a blemish on his legacy if this is what is going to continue going into the future. The Elite want to remain as far away from Punk as possible. In a sense, you could say that Punk was right. He's working with children. Get over it. Get over it. Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, Omega, Punk, Tony Khan, they all need to get over it. They all need to act like men. They need to put their personal juvenile vendettas aside for the greater good of this business, for the greater good of this company, and give them the best rivalry and the best story that this company has ever told. Because at some point, things are going to have to come to an end. We've been at this for a year. We've been at this for a solid year. This needs to stop. It needs to stop, and it needs to stop now. I swear, man, there's no professionalism. No professionalism whatsoever. It's legitimately a lost art. It's legitimately a lost art. Shit needs to stop. We need to get through All In, get through All Out, and then Tony Khan needs, on top of assembling a creative team, he needs to get these individuals together and he needs to put them in their place and make sure everyone knows that he runs the company. Things need to change for the better ASAP. Those are your news, rumors, and reports. Hope you guys are having a great time. Recently, this week, I gotta say, my shorts have been doing very well, better than usual. My most recent short from Tuesday, that got about 243 views. My short on Brock Lesnar's best opponent upon his return, that got about 192. And then my recent short on Vince McMahon continuing to ruin Triple H's vision, that got about 651 views. So a lot of good short views. That's for certain. Shout out to Earl Cole. Thank you very much for stopping by, Mr. Earl Cole. I always appreciate you stopping by because you are one of my day one A1s. You are one of my day one A1s. We're going to talk about the weekly shows. I'm talking about 3 shows. We're going to talk about Dynamite. We're going to talk about Raw. And we are going to talk about Rampage. Monday Night Raw this week, I wish I could say was as good as last week, but it was not. It actually dipped in quality after the first hour. The first hour was fine. And then after the first hour, the second hour just kind of, that went downhill. I'm not sure what happened, but a lot of it, I would say, had to do with the crowd. That crowd in Calgary was terrible. Oh my God, that crowd was awful. So the Judgment Day kicked off the show. Rhea Ripley welcomed everyone to Monday Night Raw, the place that the Judgment Day runs. Lately, she said, things haven't been going our way. Priest said that Finn Balor should be the world champion. You know, if Seth Rollins already had a solid championship run, I would actually agree with Damian Priest, but Rollins needs a legit title run. Finn will handle Cody Rhodes, but he should really be out here. So Priest said he was tired of hiding it. He was getting mad at the fact that Finn Balor has been very distant from them. All of a sudden, JD McDonough came out, and he said that he has a message from Finn Balor. Priest told him to be careful. JD said that he's come out here tonight to tell you that Finn is going to worry about the real targets, Sami Zayn and Cody. Rhea stopped him and said that we don't take orders from people, especially those who are not a part of Judgment Day. Dom then tried to talk, and the fans booed. Finn was not around. Rhea Ripley then told JD to tell Finn that they need to have a talk before Sami Zayn came out, and him and JD McDonough went at it. The Judgment Day just watched because it was not their fight. It was not their fight because JD is not a member of Judgment Day, at least not yet. So, going into commercial, Sami Zayn was clutching at his injured elbow, and when we came back, we got a match between JD McDonough and Sami Zayn. First off, I need to say, nice little switch up from the usual. This wasn't a segment to set up a typical Judgment Day 6-person tag team match in the main event. Instead, they went the approach of introducing us to JD McDonough and kind of teasing us as to what is to come. And I appreciate that because in the future, we should have JD McDonough joining the Judgment Day, potentially kicking Priest out. So this match with Sami Zayn and JD McDonough, we had a very solid TV match right here. Sami tried to get over control with a nice clothesline, but JD McDonough smashed Sami Zayn's arm off of the announce table. Sami Zayn with the Meishinuku driver for a 2. We had a crossface by JD McDonough. Zayn got to the ropes. Exploder suplex by Zayn. Out came Finn Balor. Zayn got distracted. JD with a headbutt. Sami was down and out. JD went for the moonsault, but Zayn got his boots up. We had a punch to Balor, a haluva kick, and Sami Zayn beats JD McDonough in a very solid TV match. Sami Zayn need a much-needed win because he is one half of the Undisputed Tag Team Champions with Kevin Owens, and we do not need Sami taking another loss, so I appreciate that. So we'll see what happens in the future. It seems as though Cody Rhodes is tied up with the Judgment Day for the time being. Maybe we could see the Judgment Day implode at some point going into Payback, maybe even after Payback. Maybe that's the main story going into the fall, and JD McDonough is eventually going to join at some point between Payback and Fastlane. We'll see what happens. Chelsea Green was arguing over the women's tag team titles with Adam Pearce. Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter came in saying that they were ready to fight for the titles. All of a sudden, Piper Niven came in. She took the title and she said that she is now Chelsea Green's new tag team partner. Chelsea Green's arguing with Adam Pearce over what to do with the tag team titles. I got an idea. How about you burn them? Burn them! Burn them with fire! Tag team titles are worthless. Good for Piper. Good for Piper, I guess, but nobody cares. Nobody cares about the women's tag team titles. Nobody will care. They should have been burned a long time ago. Should have never even been created. We had the Ring General Gunther. Gunther, the greatest Intercontinental Champion ever. And yes, I do believe that he is the greatest Intercontinental Champion ever. Gunther came out with Imperium to cut a promo. He stood on the table and he said, I was on my journey to the building of the legacy of the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. I'm building this legacy as the greatest Intercontinental Champion, and I understand why they call Winnipeg the armpit of Canada. But he wanted to talk about Chad Gable. He called him one of the best athletes in the company, but I have achieved more in a year than he has in his entire career. All of a sudden, over the PA system, you just hear Chad Gable going, shoosh, and he held it. He held it for a good 10, 15 seconds. He actually had to take another breath because he held it for so long. So he said, now, Gunther is weeks away from breaking the all-time record, but Chad Gable is nipping at your heels. Why don't you, Gio, get your bald head in this ring so I can beat it down? Oh, thank you, said Chad Gable. So all of a sudden, Ludwig Kaiser started speaking. He goes, "Nay, nay, nay. How dare you embarrass the Ring General? How dare that the IWC be so retarded? DJ Storms is the only man that can save them all." He didn't say that. I added that to the promo. But Ludwig Kaiser started kissing up to Maxine Dupree. And he said, "Maxine, if you want the real man, you should go knock on DJ Storms' door because he is the best of the best." He didn't say that. So Maxine ended up slapping Ludwig Kaiser after he called the Alpha Academy a sinking ship. And we ended up getting Giovanni Vinci versus Chad Gable. This did not go long. This went about 3 minutes, which is quite pathetic if you ask me. But I didn't mind this as I normally would because it actually led into the next segment. So Chad Gable beat Giovanni Vinci with the Chaos Theory. Gunther then got pissed and he challenged Otis to a match. And by the way, you want to know how great Gunther is? Gunther managed to keep a straight face while Otis was gyrating his hips while looking directly at him. If that was me, I probably would have broke right then and there. So Otis took on Gunther. Again, did not go long. Not all that exciting. The crowd did not help. But Gunther beat Otis with a powerbomb. Very impressive. Chad Gable then came in out of nowhere and gave him a German suplex. So that is all building towards the Intercontinental Championship match next week. We had a decent little promo for Indy Hartwell. I'd like to believe that had a little bit of Triple H influence behind it. Matt Riddle and Drew McIntyre, they took on the Viking Raiders. This was probably the second best thing on the show in terms of an in-ring quality. Viking Raiders actually matched up pretty well with Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle, and I've been noticing that the tag team division has actually had a bit more of a focus recently. Next week, we actually got Matt Riddle and Drew McIntyre versus the New Day, so that should be fine. So Matt Riddle was isolated by the Viking Raiders before Drew got the tag. Drew with a couple of belly-to-bellies to Eric and a big neck breaker. We had a big Michinoku driver by Drew McIntyre on Ivar for a 2. Very impressive. Eric with a knee. Tagged to Matt Riddle. We had a springboard, clothesline, German suplex combo. Riddle kicked out. Final flash knee. Riddle then with a springboard floating bro. Eric took out Matt Riddle. And Drew McIntyre hit the Claymore and won the match 1-2-3. Decent match, but the Viking Raiders continue to be jobbers, and it's actually quite pathetic. It's actually quite pathetic, and it's quite sad that I need to watch the Viking Raiders, who put on one of the greatest tag team matches in the history of the company with Ricochet and Malachi Black 4 years ago back in Brooklyn. It's a shame that I have to watch this tag team completely dwindle into nothing. If not already. They're already nothing. If anything, releasing them would probably be the best route for them. They could add so much to the AEW tag team division. Now, do we see a heel turn by Drew McIntyre? Are we going to go into a Drew McIntyre, Matt Riddle program? I don't know. If you're asking me, Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle, that would be a great program. But truthfully, I would build up one of them as challengers for Seth Rollins, because we all know Nakamura is not beating Seth Rollins. Unless this is really a heel turn, this isn't really going to do anything for either man. This is just spinning your wheels with Matt Riddle until Randy Orton comes back. And Drew McIntyre, he looks like he's about ready to just walk out. Indy Hartwell, she took on Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley went right on the attack. Just absolutely trashed Indy Hartwell. And Rhea Ripley delivered the Riptide for the win. Afterwards, Indy, who got the short end of the stick, pretty much buried. She was laying on the mat, and Candice LeRae attacked Rhea Ripley, and Indy and LeRae both laid out Rhea Ripley and got out of Dodge quick. So I'm assuming that they could very well be set up to feud with Rhea Ripley following her match with Raquel Rodriguez, which I believe is going to take place at Payback. Shinsuke Nakamura came out to address the crowd. He was dressed in all black. Michael Cole interviewed him. Nakamura said some stuff in Japanese, and the only sentence that he said in English was, "I want the world title." Seth Rollins then came out, typical stuff, with the whoa, whoa, whoa. So Seth Rollins, he came out, welcomed everyone to Monday Night Rollins. He gave Shinsuke his props, but he said that Shinsuke wasn't telling the entire truth. So he said that Shinsuke wasn't telling the entire truth, and then he failed to elaborate on what the entire truth is. So Rollins said if you wanted a shot at the world title, all you had to do was ask. Rollins said he's less concerned about why, and he said, I'm more concerned about getting even. Your challenge is accepted. So Rollins then shook Nakamura's hand. Nakamura whispered something into Rollins' ear. Not sure what it was. He probably said that DJ Storms runs the IWC, to which he is correct. And then Shinsuke delivered a Kinshasa out of nowhere to the back of Rollins' neck. I don't understand why Nakamura had to go out there and speak in mostly Japanese. If anything, if you were not going to have Nakamura say the explanation, then you should have had Rollins say the explanation. And the explanation would have been simple. Nakamura has been in the WWE for over 7 years now, and there is one guy that he is yet to beat. The one guy that he is yet to beat is Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins has defeated Nakamura 3 times. He beat him at Survivor Series 2018, he beat him at Fastlane 2021, and he beat him on the SmackDown following Fastlane. Rollins has Nakamura's number. The correct thing to do would have been to say, you know, Nakamura, I think I know the real truth. Every single individual that you stepped into the ring with here in the WWE, you have beaten except for me. I'm the albatross that you cannot get off of your back. So you know that you had to attack me from behind. You want the world title, but in order to win the world title, you need to go through the man that you've never beaten before, and that's Seth freaking Rollins. Well, guess what? Nothing, and I mean nothing, is going to prevent me from retaining the World Heavyweight Championship, and there is nothing that you can do in order to get one over on me. That's what Rollins should have said. That's the story. And it's a simple story too. But no, we don't even get any explanation. Just he wants the world title. I mean, granted, it's better than Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes. It's better than Lesnar and Cody Rhodes, but that's not saying much. That's actually one of the worst feuds of the year. Should be a good match. Should be a good match. It should main event the show, too. Should main event the show, but, man, very, 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 very lame segment. I'll tell you what else was lame. Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch. This was terrible. We already had a contender for worst match of the year with Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. Now we get another worst match of the year contender with Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch. How about that? How about that? Terrible. Trish Stratus, she botched a Stratus faction, and then she botched a guillotine leg drop, and she fell too early. Becky Lynch landed right on her ass. And to top it all off, this match ended in a double countout. Double countout city. Zoe Stark then attacked Becky Lynch in the concessions area, and Zoe and Trish stood tall, and Adam Pearce made a steel cage match for Payback. Great! So now we gotta wait to Pittsburgh. Man, I hope Pittsburgh absolutely fucking annihilates this match. I hope they fucking annihilate this match to the highest of high. I swear to God. What a joke. We got the main event. Finn Balor and Cody Rhodes. And we got Cody Rhodes coming out. This was his only entrance on the show. So all we got was one adrenaline in my soul. Whoa, here comes Cody Rhodes. Oh! Cody Rhodes, Finn Balor. Good match. Good match. So Dom came out in the early stages to cause a distraction, and Balor hit Cody with a basement drop kick. Coming back from commercial, Cody mounted a comeback with a disaster kick. And out came Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. Balor with a sling blade. Super kick by Cody. Eye of the Hurricane by Balor. Shotgun drop kick by Finn. Coup de grace missed. Cody cutter. Priest then tripped up Rhodes behind the referee's back. Cody with a suicide dive on Priest and Balor. Dom then crotched Cody on the top. Balor with a big superplex, and Cody kicked out. Dom then slid in a chair. The ref caught him. Rhea caused a distraction. Damian slid in the briefcase. Cody then caught the briefcase and hit Priest with it and delivered the crossroads to Finn Balor. And Cody gets the win 1-2-3. So the briefcase, once again, is the bane of Finn Balor's existence. Judgment Day then attacks. Sami Zayn came out with a chair. We had shots for Dom, shots for Balor, shots for Priest. All of a sudden, JD McDonough came out and gave him a major headbutt. And then he just gifted Sami Zayn as a sacrificial lamb to Priest and Finn Balor. So JD is trying to be all nice. He's trying to be all buddy-buddy. So after that, we had South of Heaven and multiple coup de grace to Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn. And we had a razor's edge by Damian Priest to Sami Zayn through the announce table, which was great. This was probably the third best thing on the show. The beatdown was great. So it seems as though when Kevin Owens comes back, which should be in a couple weeks, I should say, Kevin Owens should come back soon, and it looks like Kevin Owens is going to be in a match with Sami Zayn and the Judgment Day. Could we very well see the Judgment Day win the tag team titles? I don't know. Potentially. We'll have to wait and see. Or could we see Cody Rhodes potentially fight Damian Priest for the Money in the Bank briefcase at Payback? That's not the best idea, to be quite honest with you, because if Cody's going to get to Roman Reigns again, you should have him go through the Elimination Chamber. We do not need him taking the Money in the Bank briefcase away from Damian Priest, and we do not need him winning the Royal Rumble again. We'll see what happens. AEW Dynamite, Fight for the Fallen. I don't want to say that this was a bad show. But there really is no hype surrounding AEW All In. And I already talked about that in the beginning of the stream. If you want to go back and rewatch it, go back and rewatch it. So the show kicked off with Orange Cassidy versus Wheeler Yuta. This was for the AEW International Championship. And I'm actually going to point something out here. I made a post on PWP Nation, right? And I stated that Orange Cassidy's title defense on Wednesday put him even with the amount of title defenses that Roman Reigns has. Roman Reigns, in the span of nearly 1,100 days, has accumulated 29 televised title defenses, the same amount of title defenses as Orange Cassidy has in just over 300 days. Now, they are two vastly different individuals, two vastly different styles, two vastly different stories, two vastly different title reigns. However, the fact that you have Orange Cassidy, who is a mid-card champion, no disrespect to him, but he's a mid-card champion. The international title is a mid-card championship. And yet, he has the same amount of title defenses as Roman Reigns, who's been defending the title for nearly 1,100 days. That is pathetic. Not only that, Roman Reigns has not defended the championship in 4 months between WrestleMania and SummerSlam, and now we're probably not looking at him defending the title again until November at the Saudi show. I am sorry, but that is absolutely inexcusable. Ever since WrestleMania ended, Roman Reigns and his title reign has been going like this. Roman's title reign has taken a nosedive. It doesn't matter what kind of ratings, what kind of money, what kind of finances, what kind of analytics you want to throw at me. It is an indisputable fact that in terms of an in-ring quality, Orange Cassidy has been outperforming Roman Reigns in the last 5 months in every sense of the word. You don't like it? There's the door. Get the hell out of here. I'm not saying Roman Reigns needs to wrestle every week, but if you're a world champion, you better be defending that title on every pay-per-view. How many times do we have a pay-per-view for WWE? 12, 13 times a year? Roman would essentially still be a part-timer anyway. So what difference does it make? In no way, shape, or form should a world champion not be defending his title at every single pay-per-view. Inexcusable. Absolutely inexcusable. Orange Cassidy, matter of fact, the story with Orange Cassidy has surpassed the Bloodline. I'm more intrigued in what Orange Cassidy is doing than the Bloodline. Bloodline saga has run stale. I'm more intrigued in how much longer can Orange Cassidy's body hold up. That's the story. He's going out there every week and defending the championship like his life depends on it. And each and every single time, he's lost a little piece of himself. His body is worn out. When will his body finally give out on him? That's the story. And that's more intriguing than what the Bloodline has going on. Orange Cassidy and his title reign coming out of WrestleMania has been immensely better than Roman's. You don't like it? Tough shit. Very good match right here. Orange Cassidy ends up getting the win with the roll-up. And then afterwards, the BCC attacked. Best Friends and the Lucha Bros came out to aid. All of a sudden, Eddie Kingston made his return. He went right after Claudio. All out bedlam. And then Eddie Kingston challenged the BCC to a Stadium Stampede match at All In with whoever the BCC can find. It's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting to say the least. I'm not sure who they're going to recruit. I'm not sure who they're going to recruit. I'm guessing it could very well be someone of Eddie Kingston's past. I don't know. Maybe they recruit someone from New Japan. Maybe they recruit the Bullet Club. Maybe they recruit someone from Bullet Club. I don't know. There's a lot of different options. Who from AEW would you like to see? I don't know. Who from AEW? Let me know. JR had to sit down with Kenny Omega in Daly's place. So Omega ran down his history with Don Callis. He says he can't justify what Don Callis has done. He talked about his history with Takeshita and how him and Takeshita kind of grew up in the business together. Don Callis then interrupted the interview, and all of a sudden, Bullet Club Gold and Konosuke Takeshita attacked. And we had a great 6-man attack, or trio attack, by Bullet Club and Takeshita on Kenny Omega. And it was later confirmed that it will be the Golden Elite, Hangman, Omega, and Kota Ibushi, taking on Bullet Club Gold and Konosuke Takeshita at AEW All In. And then from there, I do believe that we are going to lead into a match with Konosuke Takeshita and Kenny Omega at All Out, which I have absolutely no issue with whatsoever. Don Callis, he introduced Chris Jericho, and the crowd booed heavily because we all thought that this was going to be the alliance that we all feared. So he said that he was betrayed by Kenny Omega, and he feels for Jericho after what happened with the Jericho Appreciation Society. Jericho said that he wanted to change a few things. He creates factions, And that's why my answer is yes. He joined up with Don Callis. Crowd booed heavily. He said he needs to be more selfish and align with a man that is as low as he is. So all of a sudden, Chris Jericho then pointed out a picture in the corner. Don Callis kind of shoved him away. Jericho took the cloth off the picture, and it was a picture of Don Callis holding Chris Jericho's head. So Jericho was trying to ask if Don Callis wanted to have him beheaded. Callis then said that the artist screwed this up. Jericho told Callis to shut up, and he could tell when he's lying. Callis told Jericho that he didn't think Jericho would say yes because you have a massive ego. I thought that you would make a stupid decision because you're a narcissistic egomaniac and you don't deserve to be a part of the Don Callis family, said Don Callis. Jericho then asked, who the hell is Don Callis? You are in AEW because of me, and still nobody cares. This is why you lost everything, because you're a lowlife. Don Callis, you are an asshole. Jericho then slapped the hell out of Don Callis. So Jericho then grabbed Callis by the collar before Konosuke Takeshita came out. Jericho gave Konosuke Takeshita a couple of punches. Out of nowhere, Will Ospreay attacks Chris Jericho, and then he took a chair shot and he gave Jericho an Attitude Era chair shot right to the head. Jericho was busted open. Callis then took the painting and smashed it over Jericho's head before Sammy Guevara came out to help Jericho, and Callis and company ran off. This segment was awesome. Probably the best thing on the show. Absolutely fantastic. We all thought they were going in one direction. They completely swerved us. And now Jericho is a full-fledged babyface. And it was a brilliant story told. Callis was kind of coercing Jericho into joining the Don Callis family. Callis didn't think that he would join because Jericho's an egomaniac. Callis shot himself in the foot. And Jericho kind of was the architect of his own defeat as well, because everyone in the JAS walked out. Everyone except for one, Sammy Guevara. And that right there is very telling. It's a brilliant storyline. It is a brilliant strategy. And if anything, we could very well be on the verge of seeing Sammy Guevara and Will Ospreay at All Out. I hope that's the guy. I hope Will Ospreay stays in the United States. I hope Will Ospreay is going to compete at All Out. I hope we get Ospreay and Guevara at All Out. I need that. That right there is actually a better match than Jericho and Ospreay. Now, I will say this. Jericho and Ospreay, not my first choice. However, I am not going to sit here and say that it's not going to be a good match. It could very well be a great match. If anything, I would have them kick off the show. We'll see what happens. Darby Allin and Nick Wayne. They took on the Gates of Agony. Khan and Leona. They attacked Nick Wayne and Darby Allin right out of the gate. Gates of Agony were in control before Darby got the tag with a crucifix bomb on Bishop Khan. Nick Wayne then came in with a Rana off the apron to Leona. We had Wayne's World on Khan in the ring. Wayne then with a moonsault taking out Leona. Darby with a coffin drop, and he wins it before Fox and Swerve swarmed Darby and Nick. Sting, all of a sudden, he came up on the television screen. And he was kind of in his Joker Sting persona, right? And he kidnapped Prince Nana. And he was like speaking in this crazy tone. He was giggling to himself. He said to Prince Nana, "It's showtime." And then he scared Prince Nana off. I don't know why. I laughed a hell of a lot more at this than I really should have. This was great. This was awesome. So from there, we go to MJF and Adam Cole. And they went to Outback Steakhouse to prepare for All In and Aussie Open. So after watching this, they then decided to go watch kangaroos, and MJF said that he's going to do a kangaroo kick. And then after this, they set up a little sanctuary of blow-up crocodiles, and a kiddie pool, and they had these Australian outback hats on, and they whispered to each other. Someone came in, grabbing one of the inflatable crocodiles, and they went to themselves, double clothesline, and they clotheslined this poor schmuck. This poor security guard, into a kiddie pool before Tony Khan came out of nowhere and yelled at them in his office for double clotheslining people into kiddie pools. And then Tony Khan got pissed off, and MJF said, "Yeah, you're the best boss ever." And Tony Khan just let it slide. They made light of Tony Khan being a pushover boss. I don't care what anyone thinks. This was fucking hilarious. This was great. Comedy gold. Comedy gold. Probably the best MJF Adam Cole segment yet. And that wasn't all. Then we got the promo. Shout out to Danielle Wolf. She's in the chat right now. Appreciate you. MJF and Adam Cole came out to address the crowd, and this segment was great. It did everything that it needed to do going into All In. Crowd was loud. Cole then promised that they will win the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. MJF then started a kangaroo kick chant. Cole then talked about the match being the most important match of his life with MJF at All In. It's so important for my legacy, and I need to win. And I will do anything to win the World Championship because I didn't know if I was ever going to wrestle again. So after that, MJF said, "Good story, but my story's better." So he told the story of All In and how Cody Rhodes and Adam Cole were his dream opponents. He busted his ass in 2018 and opened All In. He sent a DM to Cody, and he finally got a response saying, "Kid, you're all in. I may have lost, but I managed to turn some heads ahead by a man by the name of Tony Khan. There's no All In, there's no MJF," he said. "I became a generational talent. I became the AEW World Champion, and now I'm going to be on All In front of the biggest crowd in history of this sport. And I'm main eventing against my best friend. However, it doesn't mean everything to me." He takes off the triple B, holds it in Adam Cole's face, and says, "This means everything to me." The triple B. And if you think I'm going to lay down, you are out of your goddamn mind. A win will make me legendary. Nobody is on the level of the devil. Cole then said, "May the best man win." MJF then said, "Yes, the better man will win because my name is Maxwell Jacob Friedman and I'm better than you and you know it." And then Adam Cole goes, "I'm sorry, but I think the new world champ at All In will be Adam Cole Bebe." All of a sudden, Aussie Open then attacked. MJF and Adam Cole fought back. Both men got out of dodge. And then Cole, he got down low. He looked like he was getting ready to super kick MJF. MJF kind of caught him a bit. And then in the end, the two ended up hugging it out as the Kingdom sat with Roderick Strong and watched it all go down. Excellent. Excellent, 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 excellent segment. And if you're asking me, we could very well see MJF's best match of his title defense if this match goes as according to plan. It's going to be good. It's going to be great. I'll tell you what wasn't all that great. The Battle of the Jeffs. The Battle of the Jeffs. Battle of the Jeffs between Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Hardy. Texas Chainsaw Massacre Death Match. Texas Chainsaw Massacre Death Match. Jeff Hardy actually went into the crowd at the start of this match. He went to get more weapons, and Jeff Jarrett attacked him in the concessions area, and they were brawling by the concessions before Satnam Singh attacked. We had Ethan Page, Matt Hardy, and Brother Zay attacking Satnam Singh. Matt then dumped fake blood on Jeff Jarrett and his wife, and they brawled through the bowels of the arena. Coming back from commercial, Jeff Hardy then jumped off of a pile of production crates onto the people. They brawled by the announce table. It was absolute chaos. All of a sudden, we had smoke coming out from underneath the ring. I'm not sure what the hell happened there. Jeff Hardy then whipped Jeff Jarrett with a kendo stick. The baby faces set up a table. They put Jeff Jarrett on it. And then all of a sudden, Jeff Hardy does a perfect swanton bomb off the top through Jeff Jarrett through the table. And that was very, very nice. I will give Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Hardy credit for that. Very good. Very good stuff right there. All of a sudden, we had Karen Jarrett coming on in, and Karen Jarrett caused a little scrap in the ring. It was all-out chaos. Jay Lethal then came in, and Jay Lethal delivered a lethal combination on Ethan Page. Page then was caught with a low blow by Sanjay Dutt. Matt Hardy with a twist of fate. Karen Jarrett with a low blow. Jeff Jarrett then caught a swift shot right to the face. And then all of a sudden, after Jeff Hardy's about to win this match, we had some guy dressed as Leatherface coming out with the chainsaw, running off Karen Jarrett. Satnam Singh came up from behind Jeff Hardy, delivered a choke slam out of nowhere, and then Lethal pulled Jeff Jarrett into the cover, and Jeff Jarrett ended up winning the match. I am not upset that Jeff Jarrett won. I am not upset that we got Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Hardy wrestling on Dynamite in a crazy match. I'm not even upset that Satnam Singh was wearing overalls. I'm upset at the fact that they pretty much did the same thing as WWE did in the Pitch Black match. If you wanted to do a sponsored match, fine. But why did you need to trot someone out there as Leatherface wielding the fucking chainsaw around like a maniac? If you wanted to do the match, I would have been completely fine with the fake blood. I would have been fine with the weapons and the tables. I would have been fine with all of that. That I had no issue with. But if you're going to trot someone out there walking around with a chainsaw like Leatherface, that right there is absolutely stupid. That was beyond stupid. No, never mind. That was beyond anything I could have ever comprehended. I swear to God. It's like I was watching something on acid trip. You wanted to do a sponsored match, fine. Get your money, get your sponsorships. But do not trot a character like that. Do not bring movie characters into pro wrestling. Like what happened with LA Knight and Bray Wyatt. We did not need a Pitch Black match where all the characters of the Firefly Funhouse are going to come out from behind and they're going to jump on LA Knight from the rafters. We don't need that. Just have them wrestle. If you wanted this match to go down the way that it went down, fine. But you should not have trotted Dean Alexander, I believe it was. Dean Alexander came out dressed as Leatherface. No need for that. That was embarrassing. And that actually brought the show down a lot. It actually took the life out of the crowd until we got to the main event with the Guns and the Young Bucks. Stupid. Really, I really don't have any comprehension for that. And then Dustin Rhodes wants to go on record and try and defend it. Ridiculous. So from there, we go into a all-in qualifying match. All-in qualifying match with the Bunny and Britt Baker. So Britt Baker and the Bunny, it was simple, straightforward, really nothing over the top, very basic match. Fatal 4-Ways confirmed, and that was pretty much it. Really nothing to go over in depth, really nothing to jump for joy about. I just hope that the women at All In are not placed in a spot where they're going to be outshined. I really hope that the women are actually placed in a spot where they will put on a solid Fatal 4-Way. I don't know what's going on, but Britt Baker's been working a little stiff as of lately. The Acclaimed, they were actually set to fight a couple of jobbers. All of a sudden, the lights go out and the lights come back on. The jobbers were not there anymore, and it was the House of Black in the ring. They attacked the Acclaimed. Brody King then took a chain and punched Castor right in the face. Big knee by Buddy. Dante's Inferno on Bowens, and then Matthews delivered a curb stomp. So it looks like the House of Black is trying to lure Daddy Ass back in. After Daddy Ass apparently retired, it looks like they're trying to pretty much pick the bones and prey on a weakened Acclaimed. I'm guessing that we will probably see Daddy Ass and the Acclaimed versus the House of Black at some point. Probably, I would actually hold off until maybe Grand Slam. I would have the House of Black surpass 200 days as champions. Because they're doing great stuff. I would not take the titles off them yet. Maybe Grand Slam. But if anything, I don't even know if I want to see the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass take the trios titles from them. I've been really enjoying the House of Black. We'll see what happens. Young Bucks and the Guns. Young Bucks and the Guns. This was a solid tag team match. We had the Bucks with some swift double team action. Colton then with a forearm, a huge leaping forearm right to the back. We had a nice drop kick on Matt Jackson. Colton, I will say, Colton has a very nice drop kick. So Nick Jackson got the tag, double takedown off the ropes. And we then had a facebuster on Austin, a moonsault on Colton, assisted sliced bread by the Young Bucks. Colton then came in with a double flying clothesline. We had the 310 to Yama, which is the flatliner flapjack combination. Nick Jackson then with a roll-up for a 2. We had a diving stomp to break up the flapjack flatliner combo. We had a famouser on Matt, German suplex on Austin, roll-up with the assist, and the Bucks end up getting the win. Very good match for what it was. I'm really enjoying what the Guns have been doing. Bullet Club Gold then came out and attacked, and they brought in some chairs. All of a sudden, FTR came up from behind, and they attacked. They delivered Shatter Machine on Juice. FTR then teased the Shatter Machine on the Young Bucks, but they didn't do it as the tensions continued to build towards AEW All In. Leatherface coming out really brought the show down. And it really took the crowd out of it a bit, too. For the most part, the crowd was fine. And then that Leatherface cameo happened. Everything just went up in smoke after that. AEW Rampage. Fight for the Fallen. Fight for the Fallen. Rampage was actually a semi-decent show. You got some really good wrestling on Rampage this week. Ray Phoenix and Commander, they had probably what was the best match of the entire week for AEW television. We got Collision tonight, but across Rampage and Dynamite, Ray Phoenix and Commander was very good. So we had a very even back and forth, very nice stuff. Commander then with a huge tope con hero over the top onto Phoenix. Phoenix then with a diving stomp for a 2. Coming back from commercial, both men traded some strikes. Diving crossbody by Commander. Super kick by Phoenix. Big Hurricane Rana by Commander for a 2. Commander then with a lung blower That got another 2 count. Handspring by Commander. Phoenix rolled through into a beautiful cutter, and that got a 2. We had a tightrope PK by Phoenix. That got another 2. Crucifix bomb by Commander. Phoenix kicked out again. Spin kick by Commander. Spin kick by Phoenix. Both men are down. Both men then traded some strikes. Commander then with a springboard Canadian Destroyer on the money. Rope walk, shooting star press. Phoenix kicked out again. Great near fall. We had a fire thunder driver. Commander kicked out again. Phoenix then finally said, enough is enough. I'm ending this. Muscle buster, spin out driver. And Rey Fenix wins what was a great match. 14 minutes between these two men. And Lucha Libre is alive and well in AEW. Excellent, excellent, excellent stuff. These are the types of matches that AEW Rampage needs. More of these, please. Aussie Open. They're getting a lot more television time, which is a great thing to see. More Aussie Open on television, please. Aussie Open. They defended the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships against Brother Zay and Ethan Page. And listen, I know a lot of people do not like Ring of Honor on AEW television, but I mean, when it comes to Aussie Open, I don't understand how anyone can complain about Aussie Open. They are one of the best tag teams in the world right now. So Brother Zay was isolated very early. We had a tag to Ethan Page. Page then took out Mark Davis. Brother Zay with a big tope off the top onto Aussie Open. Big collider by Aussie Open. They collided Page and Brother Zay. Coming back from commercial, Ethan Page was isolated. He delivered a brainbuster on Kyle Fletcher. He got the hot tag to Cassidy. Cassidy with a stunner on Davis. Moonsault to the outside on Davis. Springboard crossbody for a 2. Swanton bomb, but Aussie Open got the knees up. Or excuse me, Fletcher got the knees up. We had an elevated kick by Aussie Open. And then we had ourselves a assisted cutter. Page then saved the match. We then had a double kick to Ethan Page, sending him to the outside. Double lariats, and then the Coriolis. Coriolis on Mr. Brother Zay. And Aussie Open wins. A decent little tag team title defense right here. Afterwards, they took the mic, and they said that they will prove that they are the best. At the end of the day, MJF and Adam Cole, you are both pieces of trash, and there will be no kangaroo kicking. We are Aussie Open, and we run the world. Anytime I get to see Aussie Open on TV is a great time. This was actually one of the most intriguing things about AEW television all week. Vincent and Dutch, along with Stu Grayson, the Righteous, they had a promo on Rampage, and it looks like the Righteous could be making their way to AEW television, and I do not have a single issue with that, because the Righteous, they are a great trio, and if we are going to dabble in the trios division, having the Righteous in the trios division, potentially fighting the House of Black and the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass and the Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club, that's a great thing. That would be a great thing to see, so I'm enjoying what the Righteous brings to the table. Should be interesting to see them on AEW TV. Sammy Guevara took on John Cruz. Really nothing of note here. GTH and Sammy Guevara wins. I really like to hope that Sammy Guevara is going to be in line for a match with Will Ospreay at All Out. And then in the main event, women main event the show again. Tony Khan, that narrative is really, really big, huh? Sheeta and Sky Blue, they took on Tony Storm and Ruby Soho. Decent little tag team match right here. Sheeta got the hot tag coming back from commercial, and she lit up the Outcasts with a reverse Samoan drop. Big right hand, German suplex by Storm. Enziguri by Sky Blue. Sayudo suplex by Soho. A beautiful code red by Sky Blue, but Tony Storm saved it. Spray paint to the eyes. Tony Storm with a hip attack, but Sheeta saved the match. Storm and Sheeta went at it. Storm then with a boot, super kick by Sky Blue. We had a jackknife pin by Sheeta, and Sheeta ended up winning a pretty decent tag team match, but that was not the end of the show because the Outcasts then attacked before Britt Baker came in and we got a four-way brawl and the security guards came out to separate them. This is all leading up to the fatal four-way match at AEW All In between Saraya, Toni Storm, Britt Baker, and Shida. And I'd actually like to hope that maybe Saraya and Toni Storm could very well come to blows because Toni Storm is actually a match that I would love to see Saraya have. I think that could very well be Saraya's best match throughout her entire career if she wants to go forth with that match. Solid episode of Rampage. Nothing too over the top, but really, really solid stuff. I think Rampage was actually better than Dynamite, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Rampage may have been more enjoyable than Dynamite. That Leatherface cameo was just a real turnoff. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. You guys, as per usual, are absolutely awesome. Plenty of streams coming up in the next couple of weeks. Join me on Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the rundown. The rundown for AEW All In this Tuesday, August 22nd at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Really appreciate every single one of you. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out all those links in the description. Until next Tuesday, I am DJ Storms, and this has been the Lightning Flash Update. But before we get out of here, people, you gotta tell me, gotta tell me who runs the IWC. It's the most important question that any wrestling fan will ever answer. I will tell ya who runs the IWC. Who? But DJ motherfucking Storms. Don't you ever forget it.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.